only taken responsibility if they've notified, they've followed the protocols. Nothing of such nature happened until I even got the reportage. We didn't know. The Norwegian authority who issued the visas to the athletes didn't see it prudent to even verify from the ministry.
We have the latest as the national security takes over investigations into the scandal. And Top Story is always brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies, holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Now, Sports Minister Mustafa Yusuf is tonight taking on the Norwegian embassy, refusing to take responsibility for a para-athletes visa scandal. Now, security agencies across Europe have for the past several weeks been on red alert, trying without success to track down 9 Ghanaian para-athletes who fled Norway after they arrived in the European country under false pretenses. Now, the athletes had arrived in Oslo for the Bergen Marathon, but disappeared shortly upon touching down. One para-athlete, Nana Entry, has been detained by Norwegian authorities while the coach of the team, George Jesse, met his untimely death shortly after being admitted to the Oslo University Hospital following his collapse on the 28th April 2024. Now, the sector minister today broke his silence on the raging controversy at a news conference.
Any federation that is recognized by the National Sports Authority, if they want to travel for their international competitions or even local national competitions, they will normally, if they need assistance from us, from government, they will normally write to the National Sports Authority. The National Sports Authority will do their due diligence, then report same with recommendation to the ministry, then we take action. In this case, in this Norwegian case, there was no any request to either the National Sports Authority or the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So the ministry were not aware about any, and the team that went wasn't also representing Ghana, as it has been reported in some of the media. So the Norwegian authorities, that's the embassies, to never even had the opportunity. Normally, even the Ministry of Youth and Sports, we don't issue letters directly to any of the embassies. We normally will write to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, for Ministry of Foreign Affairs to then work on our behalf to any of the specific embassies or missions. So for the record, this purported Ghana Paralympic team is not true. They are not representing our country. I just want to use this opportunity to appeal to all the embassies and high commissions or consular offices that anytime they get any requests from any federation, and without the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration and the Ministry of Youth and Sports supporting documents, they should verify from the ministry before they take. Failure to do so, they do so on their own risks. They do so just like what has happened in this Norwegian case. Failure to do so, you do so at your own risk. Thank you.
Well, the minority in Parliament, they've been pushing for an inquiry into the matter. Listen to the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, Samuel Okudeta Blakwa.
Diplomatic envoys, our foreign service staff, and our foreign ministry have questions to answer. Because we are told that they didn't even register for the games. So they had no intention of going to participate in the games. Now we are also being told by Samson Dean, the president of the Paralympic Association, that apparently these are not the real Paralympic athletes. How did they get his letterhead? How did they get documentation from his office? So
he claims they were fraud.
So there ought to be an immediate inquiry. And you see, what has not been helping the damage repair for our image is how we handle these matters and how you ensure that everybody in the chain who contributed to this is asked the right questions, and then you put in place reforms. That is the only way you assure the international community that you are taking steps. There is no official complicity. But as we speak, there is no probe, and at the risk of, sounding discriminatory, we are talking about Paralympics, so they are not as agile, as fast, and yet they could easily outwit foreign service staff. So imagine if it was the other athletes. So clearly there ought to be a probe, and let the probe be transparent. Let's issue a report. Let's carry out institutional reforms so that it will send a very convincing message to our international partners.
Can Parliament call for this probe?
Yes, we can. We can. Okay. And it's a matter I intend to raise at the Foreign Affairs Committee and also on the floor.
Well, head of our diplomatic affairs desk, Blessed Soka, was at this news conference, is with me in the studio. Blessed, the minister himself is facing some criticism. This is not the first time we've had sports used as cover to abuse visas that the people who were going to represent us, or at least presented themselves as represented as, had abused our process and brought international shame for us. He's been responding to that. Does he take responsibility for this?
He's not taking any of that because he believes that whatever transpired was within the remit of the Norwegian authorities. For Mustafa Yusuf, his belief is that there is indeed a protocol established by the National Sports Authority for any athlete or all the sporting federations that deal with travels out of the country. He says that part of the protocol requires that you do a verification process of the identities of all the athletes that are representing the country outside of the jurisdiction, which was not the case when, of course, these individuals applied to the Norwegian embassy. It's the reason for which he says, quote, is not taking responsibility, and he feels that the Norwegian authorities have so many questions to answer in this case.
I can't, because I could have only taken responsibility if they've notified, they've followed the protocols. In this case, I've just told you that nothing of such nature happened until I even got the reportage. We didn't know. Secondly, the Norwegian authority who issued the visas to the athletes didn't see it prudent to even verify from the ministry, because to see whether these are athletes, genuine athletes or not. So to your question, whether I'll take responsibility, I'm sorry, I can't. How can I confirm that they are Ghanaian athletes? I said the report. Your report indicate that they are athletes. I cannot confirm. You are reporting, the media are reporting that Ghanaian Paralympic Committee athletes are in Norway. I cannot confirm. The only thing I can say that I can take from your report. No, I've not received, gentlemen, I said the federation have not written to me. I said per the report and the information I got from the national security indicate that there are some purported athletes, Paralympic athletes in Norway who have absconded. If you read my statement, I said purported. Yes, so, pardon? Yeah, they have now, after the report, then they wrote a letter saying they are suspending some 3 individuals, but who are Ghanaians, and they are not disabled people. That's why in my response to you, I said those people who take advantage of our athletes, they should put stop. I said I'm warning them to put stop to that.
And we wrote to the Norwegian embassy.
Yeah.
We got a response from them.
Indeed, but as you may have noticed, quite a heated exchange there between myself and the Minister for Youth and Sport, Yusuf Mustafa, who is now clearly putting this within the remit of the Norwegian authorities. Initially, when the reports came up, we treated it as a rumor, and of course the Joy News team, trying as much as possible to verify the facts, wrote to the Norwegian embassy asking for some more explanation on what's transpiring. They then declined comment, and now the Ghanaian government has indeed made it official that the Norwegian authorities have in custody some citizens, or at least one citizen who's been arrested in Norway now. We put a call through, first of all, to the Norwegian embassy. They seem not to have welcomed the idea of a phone call and the demand from the team to speak to an authority who would then explain to us what had transpired. They rather opted for an email conversation to put on record what their position was. And of course, when we activated that window of sending the email, the Norwegian embassy in the last 30 minutes or so wrote back to us indicating that, quote, and I'm just reading directly what they've written to us, due to confidentiality requirement, the embassy is unable to comment on individual cases, unquote. Evans, that's what they're saying, and they're treating this on an individual basis and not necessarily a matter that is ensuing between the sports ministry and the Norwegian government.
At least reading the national security statement and letter that they wrote to the sports ministry and the foreign affairs ministry, we know that there's a Europe-wide search that is currently underway, and this happened somewhere in April, and so this search would have been going on. I'm pretty sure they'd have engaged the Europe Interpol to try and track
precisely
them down.
Why there are so many questions now as to why the Norwegian embassy is treating this as an individual case, when indeed the authorities there have triggered the security protocol, asking our authorities to also try and identify the individuals involved here. We have a Ghanaian in the custody of Norwegian authorities. We are not able to tell about their safety, what's happening to them, and even indeed if they're safe as of now. There are also other rumors that we've heard from the Paralympic Society pointing to the fact that some family members of one of the deceased persons, they cannot be found. These are rumors, and all of these things may have to be explained by the Norwegian authorities. But for now, it is clear that they are treating this as an individual case. That's how they are treating it, because they believe that they're treating all of the cases uniquely, and of course there would not be a broad stroke. I believe a reason for which they're sending us this email to say we'll decline comments for now.
And we also know that the sports ministry, they've been in touch with the national security because the national security is investigating this particular matter. There's no update whether or not the 9 have been found.
Not at all.
And the search has been going on now across Europe since April. And you will safely assume then that since we haven't had anything, the minister had an opportunity today to brief us and say, well, X number of the 9 have been found.
Evans, I must be
like
clear
that.
on that it appears that that's becoming a challenge for the Ghanaian authority. Even earlier this week, we tried to establish contact with the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs, who's unable to tell us now if our mission in Oslo has been able to identify all these 9 individuals and whether or not they're still within Norway itself or out of Norway, because the reports indicate that the individual that was arrested was trying to make their way into Sweden. These are reports that we need to confirm from either the Ghanaian side, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. They would not comment further on this because I believe the mission is yet to issue its official position. The Norwegian embassy is also not coming out with information, so we're just at a loss as to what exactly might be the status of all these 9 individuals. And mind you, they still remain citizens. The international standard is that if indeed they are athletes working within the Ghanaian space, they must enjoy some sort of sovereign support.
The
because
minister said today categorically
that they are not,
athletes.
but he kind of
Representing Ghana as well. So
he's now
simply
telling
when
us
they're in their own capacities as individuals.
so many questions are rising out of this.
Committee boss say his signature was forged, and so they've been disowned completely
By the state.
Thank you very much, Blessed. Also today, the minister gave this update on the referral to the national security to investigate the matter.
The Ministry of National Security has alerted my ministry, that's the Ministry of Youth and Sports here, about the issue. And we have since responded to the National Security Minister and the other security agencies to investigate the issue. So we wish to state that we are working, we want to assure you, the media, that even though it has come to our attention, even though they were not representing our country, but once the reports indicate that they are athletes, it is important for us to be concerned. So we have asked the security agencies to investigate, and once the investigation is concluded, the report will be given to the public.
Joining me on the line right now is Kobla Mensah Woyome, is MP for South Tong and a ranking on the sports committee in Parliament. Also joining me is Dr. Ishmael Horval, is international relations analyst, who's joining me on this particular subject. And Mr. Woyome, thanks for your time here on Top Story. To you first, we've heard the ministers today say he takes absolutely no responsibility for this and that the Norwegian embassy should bear that responsibility because they broke protocol. What's your own reaction to this at the sports committee? Have you received any briefing?
Good evening, Evans, and good evening to your listeners. No, we have not received any briefing from the ministry as yet. In fact, we were to have a committee meeting yesterday, but for the late, the time we're closing was not conducive for members, so we decided to instead have the meeting tomorrow. Going forward, I think the minister's response that he is not responsible at this juncture might be too early because when it comes to sports and athletes, as he rightly said, if really they are athletes, then he ought to be responsible for them. And what we are interested in is how the processes that were followed in acquiring the visas and how they did it. I mean, this is a matter of concern to everybody, so that at least if we would have to reform the process of acquiring visas, as he indicated, will be spelled out to all the federations going forward, so that they all follow, and then we do not have this sort of embarrassments anymore. I think it's one too many. We are not too happy because we do remember what happened when athletes were going to Gold Coast in Australia. I mean, that matter brought up a lot of diplomatic challenges, and then I believe strongly that how that was resolved, we're not too happy because the investigation that ensued at the time by the national security, we are yet to even get a content of the report that they after their investigation. And so when it happens like that, it's not the best.
But this is entirely different, is it not? I mean, these individuals in question, those who traveled to Norway, did so with no recourse whatsoever to the sports ministry, no recourse to the sports authority. They forged signatures, at least if you want to believe the boss of the Ghana Paralympic Committee, and they didn't know about it. The Norwegian embassy also did not check with the ministry, if you believe the minister's word on this.
And that is why the ministry should be more interested in going forward or assessing and ensuring that we go into the matter and bring corporates to book, and then maybe tell everybody what we need to tell, so that the processes of acquiring visas, if there ought to be institutional reform, so that you ought to then spell all that out. If you say you are not responsible, when in actual fact you also are, in a sense, agreeing that they may be athletes, but yes, they haven't followed the right processes. They may have gone through some fraudulent means or whichever way. I mean, these are Ghanaians. We need to go into the bottom of the matter and get to know who they are, how they acquire their visas and all that. So that at least, I mean, Ghanaians, athletes in general, I mean, get to know that, yes, henceforth, federations, this is how you go about things. After we have meted out the punishment that must be meted out to those corporate who that may be found probable.
Mr. Yomi, stay with me. Dr. Hovo, this has international implications, international relations implications for us, does it not? If you listen to the minister, he's taking no responsibility, but he's taking on the Norwegian embassy. If it's indeed true that the Norwegian embassy failed to check with our authorities before they issued this visa, he's right, is he not? He's right to take them on.
Yeah, good evening to you and good evening to your listeners. I think that the minister should exercise some restraint, because if you look at how these things operate, the embassy may be operating under the understanding that these are genuine athletes who may need a visa urgently to travel outside. So if you take on the embassy like that, in future, they may want to subject every athlete whose documents even the ministry may submit to critical scrutiny, so that they may not, this kind of issue will not occur again. So I think that in as much as we cannot establish that the minister is responsible for this occurrence, it is obvious that the Norwegian embassy may not have done due diligence in issuing those visas. We should also exercise some restraint, because If you look at the relation between these two nations, quite friendly. That is why they overlook certain things in issuing the visa. But of course, if you look at the association, the federation, these federations operate virtually under the Ministry of Sports, under the supervision of the Ministry of Sports. So if they're able to forge the signature of the president of the federation, then it means that there's something that the Ministry of Sports have to do to streamline the system to make it more difficult for elements like this to take advantage of the system. Of course, this is not the first time this is happening, so it's not like this is a particular issue that only Norwegian embassy is culpable of. We should remember that about 2 other occasions, people purported to be athletes or who travel to support our sports teams virtually didn't go to do sports and then they went away. So it is gradually tarnishing the image of this nation, and we should take responsibility, investigate it, come out with a report quickly, and lay out a roadmap to dealing with future occurrences. That is the best way to go.
So you say the sports minister must take responsibility for this?
Of course, we have to take some responsibility. These are our citizens. These are Ghanaians who have done this, and of course, we can't.
I mean, but how do you take responsibility for something you knew absolutely nothing about?
But for the use processes within your structures, the use processes within your established structures. For instance, how did they get to know that if you use the signature of the association's president, that carries weight? So again, that's to say that there's some loopholes in some of the federations. And we cannot say that because it is not directly related to the Ministry of Sports, therefore won't take responsibility. Of course, the embassy itself has questions to answer, but we cannot entirely blame the embassy because they may be operating under that assumption that these are genuine sports.
I mean, but how could you not? How can you absolve them of responsibility here, the embassy? I mean, it's basic, is it not, that you have to check. If they come with a letter that says they are from the Paralympic Committee, you have to call the Paralympic Committee to say, are you aware of these individuals? And again, the evidence so far that we've seen from the National Security Secretariat, as they've been briefed by the Norwegians themselves, is that they didn't even register for the marathon. That was an obvious red flag that the Norwegian embassy missed. You can't blame the Ghanaian authorities for that.
Of course, as I said, the Norwegian embassy may also have to take some responsibility. But as I said, they may also be operating under that understanding that these are people who may need visa urgently. So they may overlook some of these protocols. But of course, they will be conducting their own internal investigation. There may be somebody in there within the embassies that will facilitate this. So yes, they will do their own and try to fish out if there's any embassy staff that have taken part in this whole thing. But as I said, we can't entirely push the whole blame to them because this is not the first time, and it is something that people have become accustomed to. So we must deal with the source. That is, look at the structures we operate in within the association, within the federations, and the sports ministry. And blaming the embassy entirely is not the way to go because we ourselves have to find out what went wrong at our end before it gets to the embassy. Of course, the embassy has failed in taking on trying to verify who are these people actually. But that is not the entire story. This is something that has been reoccurring in Ghana, and therefore we cannot push it far away to the embassy and let it lie there. We need to find out who are those who actually facilitated within the federation and bring them to book.
Mr. Colonel Woyome,
yes, sir.
What do you plan to do about this, though? I mean, the ministry says they've handed this over to national security. Are you happy with the national security looking at this, or you want to have your own parallel probe into this?
Yeah, I think there ought to be an internal, a very transparent process, not one that is shrouded in any secrecy. It's something that we should all look at. So the committee maybe will do some broader consultations after our meeting tomorrow and see how we can initiate this because it's very important. It has the image of the country at stake. We have several things, in reality, that is affecting the country. And so we will have to do everything possible to redeem that image And so I think that the minister should cooperate. This is a matter that has come up. We should all come together and see how we can get into the bottom of the matter. Go get the federation and interview who issued those statements as to alleging who might have forged a signature and all that. We have what it takes to go into all this matter. And so I don't know why we should just at this point be throwing our hands in the air to say that we are not responsible when they actually are Ghanaians, and we need to do what it takes to redeem our image. Because don't forget, we have other genuine travelers who may go to these embassies and these missions for visas to go and probably compete or go about maybe their businesses and all that. I mean, these are processes that if we do not come out clear and clean, I mean, I don't know what the future may be there to all of us and the image of the country. So I think we should go into it. And the committee, I'm sure after tomorrow, we can have a conversation on that.
Mr. Ome, thank you very much. And that's Kobla Mensah Woyome, is the MP for South Tong and the ranking on the Sports Committee in Parliament. You had earlier Dr. Ishmael Khlovo, is International Relations Analyst, and we still don't have an update from the Foreign Affairs Ministry about the safety, the welfare of that one para-athlete. We are sweeping ahead now from the Sports Ministry. They will not describe them as such because they don't know who this person is, but at least he is in custody in Norway. We don't have an update on that. But we also don't have an update on what has happened to the 9 Ghanaians who absconded when they touched down in Norway, Oslo, and they're currently on the red alert. The European authorities have been looking for them since April. We don't know if they've been found and where they are. When we get that information, we'll share it with you. This is Top Story.
This is what the Olympics is all about.
Get closer to split-second wins. Closer to history in the making. Closer to your champions.
The greatest athletic achievements of all time.
Get DSTV to get closer to the 2024 Paris Olympic Games from 26 July to 11 August with 9 dedicated channels for the best coverage of every medal and every podium moment. On Supersport on DSTV, your home of entertainment.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me die, now my God with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Ghana way, tell you so the more money promo now.
Everybody likes money, but what do we like more than money? More money! Join the Telecel More Money promo and win money, more money, and even more money. Simply opt in for free and reload your mobile and broadband and be the lucky winner of the 1 million Ghana cedis grand prize. Also win cash prizes of up to 3 million Ghana cedis in the daily and weekly draw. Opt in for free by dialing *500# or send WIN to 500, or you can opt in on the Telecel Play app. The more you reload, the higher chances of winning in the Telecel More Money promo. Keep loading, win, and be a millionaire.
Telecel. Connecting energies.
Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Good evening and welcome to News Night. Tonight it is ugly, disgusting, and we'll deal with you. Words of sister of former President John Evans Atta Mills as the family accuses dismissed NDC member Koku Anyidoho of disrupting the 12th memorial service of the late president.
Whatever that you want to do, you have to consult the family, and we have to give you our approval because you have the money to go and do everything you want. My brother preached Asumdwe, but some of us, we sometimes deserve that Asumdwe.
We have details as chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedun Ketia, says the day of accountability for persons pretending to be celebrating Atta Mills' legacy is near.
Just to assure you that next year, this celebration will be massive. That will be the day of accountability for the pretenders. The day is fast coming.
We have details plus here from the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama, who says the values the former president stood for is missing from the current governance process. Also tonight, minority and majority leadership clash over presidential debate controversy. We hear from majority leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who's daring NDC MPs to advise John Mahama to face off with Dr. Baumia in a debate.
It is important that your MPs should not just follow your flag bearer. They should encourage your flag bearer to make himself available for a debate with Dr. Baumia. So the vice president can only debate Honorable Adongo. He should debate Honorable Adongo. A driver mate cannot debate an experienced driver.
We have details from all the controversy in Parliament. Also, local miners of Adasongo Lagoon Association rejects Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee's decision not to allow for renegotiation of Electrochem's mining lease to compel the company to release portions of the lagoon to the indigents. We have detailed report of the Energy Committee's meeting, which exonerates the company.
In business, Parliament's budget committee to help check budget overruns this year as concerns grow over election-related spending affecting current economic recovery.
And in sports drama at the Olympic Games as Morocco claims 2-1 victory over Argentina after controversial review 2 hours after the match supposedly ended in a 2-2 draw.
And we'll take you into the election headquarters tonight. An MPP running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has kick-started his campaign from the Greater Accra region. He asserts that his nickname Napo, used by both old and young, points to his humility.
I started being called Napo from the age of 4 because I was called Napo. And we couldn't say it, my cousins couldn't say it, so we became Napo, 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 Napo. Even when God blesses me, don't have His Excellency, I'll still be Napo.
And the fight against illegal mining conversation reignited as DJ Journalist of the Year and multimedia groups Erastus Asare Donko expresses renewed concerns about the lack of political will to fight the canker.
Evidence point to the fact that there are politically exposed people within government, influential people in society engaged in the illegal mining business.
And family members of former President John Evans Atta Mills are vowing to deal with dismissed NDC member Koku Anyidoho. And the sounds you hear in there are sounds of the confusion that erupted when the two sides clashed today at the Asumdwe Park. There was disagreement at the 12th anniversary laying ceremony at the park after an event organized by the founder of the Atta Mills Institute, Koku Anyidoho, ran over its scheduled time, delaying the second event at the same venue organized by the NDC and the JEA Mills Memorial Heritage.
Well, some persons who describe themselves as family members of the late Atta Mills were unhappy after they were asked by security personnel to leave. Sister of John Evans Atta Mills, Mercy Araba Kwashi, says they would deal with Koku Anyidoho and that the aggrieved group are not family members of the late Atta Mills.
We don't know them from anywhere. And they were here. He has schooled them, telling them that the rest of us, we are paternal brothers and sisters, and they are the real Atamil's family. It was so disgusting to find an 80-year-old woman pouring libation and hitting her tummy, saying that Fifi Mama won. And I was wondering if she gave birth as a baby. And now, I want to make it clear to everyone that Coco has stepped on the wrong foot by tampering with our brother's grave without our knowledge. That is totally unacceptable.
Well, we also heard today from the president's brother, Samuel Atta Mills. He says Kokwaindu, who blasting individuals he labeled as fake family members and instructed them to stay put, preventing the NDC and the JEA Mills Memorial Heritage from starting his program on time.
What an irony. You are not related to this man. No. Anybody could come here and celebrate him. He's for the country. But why would you want to clash with us? And then, as a coward as he is, he ran away and then left the people over here. Now the military was here. The military was here to try and keep some peace. And what did he do? He called somebody who had power somewhere to tell the military that they were intimidating them. We didn't intimidate anybody. But when persuasion fails, force is applied. It is true we are at Asuntre Park. But when we talk to you and you don't understand, sometimes a little bit of encouragement will make you move. So as a coward as he is, he ran away and left his people, the fake family over here. So that's what happened. It wasn't anything serious. It was just a friendly, interaction. That was it. We are here. We are setting up. And we are going to have the proper function. If Koku wants a father, his real father is around. He could go there. If he wants a job, why doesn't he get a real job instead of benefiting off somebody's family name? So that was what happened.
So you're saying that those claiming to be the family members are not the family members?
They're not family members. Now they are claiming all kinds of things. That Prof has a different mother. They should look. This is the funny part. They brought a lady over here this week who is supposed to be Prof's mother. This woman is 80 years old. And if Prof had been alive, he would have been 80 years old. So his mother is 80 years old and he is 80 years old. So does it mean that he and his mother were twins? My goodness.
Well, my colleague Master Baba saw it all unfold. He joins me in the studio. At what point did they clash?
Well, that was just when the second event was about to take place, and some security personnel started backing orders at the group that took part in the first event to leave and make way for the second event to commence. That was the point when they said they were not going to leave and that they had not finished with the program that they attended. About 150 of them came in 4 Sprinter buses, and they were all staying put and said they were not moving until they lay some wreath and did other things that they had come there to do. So at that point, it was difficult for the second group to set up and start a function. So just when the media team were arriving, specially invited guests were also arriving on the ground. That was the point that they had to start setting up their lineary speakers, their canopies, their chairs, and all of that. So a lot of people who came for the NDC and the JEA Memorial Heritage event actually saw the setting up of the canopies, the lineary speakers, everything. Usually, that would have happened before, the main event, starting today.
And of course, John Mama was there.
Yes.
The national chairman of the NDC himself was there.
Yes.
And he has something to say about this.
Yes. So John Mahama's speech was silent on the incident. In fact, he was not present when it happened. But some of the party stalwarts were there. I saw the Member of Parliament for the Dudu constituency, Neil Vanderpoel, he was part of the people who calmed tensions and had meetings with the grief group, spent about 30 minutes having interactions with them before they left the premises. But Johnson Asiedun Ketia has been speaking directly to the issue. He says there are some people who are pretending to be celebrating the legacy of Professor John Evans Atta Mills. He says next year's event is going to be massive and that the pretenders will be made to account.
Let us remember Professor Mills as a man of peace and a unifier. It is unfortunate that after his death, some pretenders would want to do everything by way of remembering him, everything that he never stood for. Because of the speech of Anti-Araba, I don't intend to go further. And just to assure you that next year, this celebration will be massive. And that will be the day of accountability for the pretenders. The day is fast coming.
And that there is Johnson Asiedun Ketia, the national chairman of the NDC, was at the event. We also had Samuel Atta Mills, his brother to the former president. He was also there at the event and joins us right now on the line. Thank you, sir, for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you very much.
Have you had any further clarity on why this happened? And I heard you speaking to my colleagues there, talking about the military intervening at some point. Have you had some clarity on why this happened?
Good evening to your listeners. The unfortunate thing was, I put the blame squarely on national security. What they did was they approved for Kwaku and the rented family to come in the morning, and then NDC and the real family also to come there in the morning. My understanding before I got there was the fake family was to come there and perform whatever they wanted to do from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And we would come there at 7 a.m. and then set up and then be ready at 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Now, the rented family did not start their program at 6 o'clock. I got there about 7:15. It was then that they were getting ready. There was drumming going on. But we were supposed to be setting up. But apparently, this Aidaho boy had told his people that they were not going to leave till 12 noon. So that was going to disrupt ours. And that was not going to happen. So we did what we had to do, and then set up our tents, and then make sure that we encouraged them to move away.
I mean, you knew before today when yours was supposed to start. You were communicated that they also had an event there at the time, early in the morning.
Yes, they knew that theirs was supposed to start at 6 and end at 7. And we were supposed to come in at 7 right after they finished for us to start our program from 9 to 11. And then after 11, they could come back and do whatever they wanted to do. But they decided that no, since they didn't start early, they were going to stay there till noon. But that is not fair to us. Yes, anybody could go there and do whatever they wanted to do if they asked for permission. But we had our time. You agreed. The rented family agreed with us. And then why are you changing your mind at this time?
So you directly negotiated this with them directly before today?
Our team negotiated with their team. And that was the understanding that we came to. So when we got there, there was a military people out there, and then there was some police out there. And somebody, the invisible hands behind this rented family, had even told the military that they were intimidating them.
You call them rented family. Koku explains that this is the maternal side.
Say, there is no maternal side. Does he know my family? He only worked for my brother for 6 years, and he seems to know my family better than I. My goodness. He doesn't know my family. What he's doing is he's being used by some invisible hands. He gave those people 200 cities each for them to come out there. Some of them didn't know why they came there.
And how did you come by this information?
Oh, because I asked them.
And they told you that Koku gave them money to be
Yes,
pastor?
he gave them money for them to come. Look, I went to some of the people and asked them why they were doing what they were doing. Because that was a disgrace.
And they told you that Koku
Yes.
gave them money?
They were given money to come out there. There were some invincible hands financing Koku and Idaho. Look, political power comes with expiration date. Political power comes with expiration date. And there will be a time that political power that you have will expire. When it expires, the tables will turn. That is when you will understand some of the folly you've been going through.
I mean, you talk about political power expiring, but Koku Aindoho, under his negotiations and ability to lobby, got their Sunjay Park refurbished to this particular state that you currently
My
use
goodness.
to
Have you gone to that Sunjay Park?
And remember the man. And he criticizes your own efforts at the time when the NDC wasn't part, that the place was neglected.
Have you been to that Sunjay Park?
Not recently.
You should go there and ask yourself, what is Asumjay Park? Ask those SHS people right now, what is Asumjay Park? And nobody knows the meaning of Asumjay Park. Who is buried out there? You never see it or know it until you get to the grave. When you go there right now, there's a statue over there, and it has the president's name and Koku Aindoho's name on it.
Because of his efforts to renovate the place. It's a fact that that place was renovated.
Sir, I know you are a very learned person. If you see every statue anywhere in the world, is the name of the person on the statue that is written on it, not the person who erected it. Well, look, he seems to have a personal problem with some people, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. This doesn't make any sense. The people, look at one funny thing. They brought an older lady to the park, and they claimed that she was the mother of Professor Mills. That lady is 80 years old. The woman was close to the grave and saying, Mara number one, that I gave birth to Professor Mills. She's 80 years old. Prof would have been 80 years this week. Does it mean that he has his mother are twins?
Mr. Tamils, but more substantively, though, the concern that many have is that it's been 12 years since the passing of the former president, and it appears that this issue about the back and forth between one side and the other side will never go away. At what point will it end?
It's going to end. It started from today. Count on it. My family and I, we are going to stop Koku Aindoho in any way possible, whether legal, spiritual, physical, or any other way. We are going to stop that guy immediately.
Well, we'll see how that goes. Do we have any timelines as exactly as in when you're going to be doing this that you talk about for this to end once and for all?
Stay tuned.
You're suggesting you're going to be using fair or foul means. Foul means illegality.
I never use foul.
Well,
I never use the word foul.
Or any means you can master.
Any means necessary means any means necessary.
Well, any means necessary could also
this guy is not a family
means.
member. How can he go to Register General's office and register at Tamils Institute when he's not an Tamils person and none of the so-called directors is related to Tamils? Can I set up Akufo-Addo Institute without the permission of the president? Can I do that?
Any means necessary could also include illegal means.
Listen, take your definition of it, and I'm going to take my definition of it. And My family and I, we are going to stop this guy in any means possible.
That sounds like a threat.
It's not a threat. It's an invitation for him to stop what he's doing.
If he doesn't
he
stop?
goes around collecting money. That's all he does. I don't care about the money. You can do whatever you want to do with the money.
But what's your
disrupt.
evidence, Mr. Atamils? What's your evidence?
Thank you. I have so many people who have come to me to tell me that the money that was written for him to support them to build Cheese Palace or something, it came at the wrong time. And I keep on telling them that no, I never wrote that thing.
But if what you're saying is true, that's defrauding individuals. You haven't reported them to the police?
Which police? The police that was aiding him today. You see, when you have somebody who is acting with invincible hands that are connected to other political parties, that's why I told you starting off with that any political power you have comes with an expiration date. And when that expiration date comes, you will not be able to keep on misbehaving the way you are.
Thank you very much. And that there is Samuel Atamils. And by the way, it's 12 years exactly since the former president died. And I always remember, I don't know where I was when it happened. I always say he died 24/7 because 24th, 7th, 24th July is when he died. And by the way, he shares a birthday with my son, so I know it happens every day. Every year I sort of remember what happened on that day. I remember I was in the newsroom when the news broke.
When it happened.
And it's we've just heard that from the family, and the question was asked, when will this end? And
at some point it has to end, so that at least the name and the legacy of the late president at least will be, protected. But let's do some other stories now here on Newsnight. Many of your messages are coming in. We'll get to take them. But local miners of Adar-Songo Lagoon Association have rejected Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee's decision not to allow for renegotiation of Electrochem Ghana Limited's mining lease to allocate more concession to local miners. Well, Parliament in November 2023 constituted a joint committee of mines and energy as well as lands and forestry to look into the salt mining contract awarded to Electrochem Ghana Limited and advised the House on the possibility of allowing the local people mine alongside the company.
Well, there's followed clashes between the company and residents who have accused Electrochem of taking over their livelihood. The committee has concluded its work and has come out with some recommendations. My colleague James Abeji joins me with excerpts of this report. Let's start with the terms of reference of the committee.
Evan, so the committee had, among other things, 3 jobs. One is to review the contract ratified by Parliament on November 6, 2020, to undertake a visit to the Songo Lagoon, and finally advise the House on the possibility of renegotiating the contract to leave some portions of the lagoon to the indigenes to continue their small-scale mining.
We'll talk about the recommendations then of that committee.
And so the committee said, after speaking to all stakeholders in the issue, they are of the view that there's no legal basis for reviewing the 3 mining leases ratified in Parliament. In fact, the report noted that Electrochem had earlier allocated a 1,000-acre portion out of the 41,000 acres they occupy to the indigents. So they are only urging Electrochem Ghana to consider allocating some more space to the indigenous in an arrangement that is mutually beneficial to the two sides, to further deepen local participation. It goes on to say that to further recommend what it calls a serious security engagement in the communities, so the resident quote, disease from any form of lawlessness, to pave way for a national undertaking with export benefit to function at full throttle. Again, the chiefs, stakeholders and the police should educate the indigenes on the fact that Ghana has a stake in Electrochem and its salt mining business in Adar-Songo, and any act of lawlessness against the company is a direct confrontation with law enforcement agencies in Ghana, unquote.
And what about the clashes and the deaths recorded?
The committee says the police should continue investigations into the killings and prosecute the perpetrators that will be found culpable.
Well, we can listen to the PRO of the Ada Songo Lagoon Association. Aveji, you've been interacting with them.
Yeah.
What exactly do they disagree when it comes to the recommendations of the committee?
So they are of the view that, according to a PNDC law that the then administration put in place to resolve the issue, they declassify salt out of the general minerals that we have, and so give them the right to own that, contrary to the provisions of the Constitution that gives minerals to the state to oversee. And so they disagree with the committee's report and the recommendations as well.
Yeah, we are disagreeing with whatever they have done. Whatever, because the second day I went with them and I pointed out clear that all the laws, all the acts that they have mentioned, it does not include the PNDC law. PNDC law became like a savior for us. The PNDC law came since that day they placed the law on the edition. There was no death. There was no shoot bullet out of any gun in Songo Lagoon by hitting anybody or killing anybody.
The committee report.
From the committee, I have not yet received it because they're supposed to give us. And if we have received it and the way you are saying is true, that is what they have said, what it means is that we will be heading towards Supreme Court of the land for interpretation to happen over there because we are not going to agree. If it happened this way, the last sitting when I met them, I told them that I begged them with my God, I begged them with everything. They should look at the thing again and make sure they do just so that we, the people who are living in Ada, who continue to have peace. Ada is one of the whole Ghana. Ada is the most peaceful place. But because of this is what we are facing.
Well, what about Electrochem themselves? We can speak to Abdul Razak Adam, is the CEO of Electrochem Ghana Limited, joins us right now. And Razak Adam, tell me, what's the reaction from your company to this findings?
So as far as we at Electrochem are concerned, we believe that the committee has done a very thorough and a very good job that is in accordance with the law of Ghana. And at the same time, it is the rule of law at the end of the day that must prevail. If you notice that the original concession was vested in Ada Songo salt project, and this was owned by the government, and government vested it into a management committee, there was no point in time this particular lease has been put in the hands of individuals or indigents. So that being said, it is the government concession that has been privatized to Electrochem to manage it and put in the right investment. And if I may refer you back, we are looking at a concession that is currently underutilized. That was underutilized. The production under concession was only about 2.5% of the potential output. Before Electrochem took over, the concession was only producing under 40,000 metric tons a year. This is projected under Electrochem to go up to 1 million metric tons, and in 2 years, this will be 2 million metric tons. So let me tell you the dollar values associated with these tons that I'm talking about. 1 million metric tons would give us 200 million US dollars. And then 2 million metric tons is 400 million US dollars. Then come back and compare that to cocoa and gold. And you realize that cocoa and gold pale in comparison if we are able to realize the potential.
Well, the numbers
become a destination and a hub for salt in the world.
The numbers may be good, but it has to translate into affecting people's lives. And first of all, the immediate lives of those in the community in which you operate. The committee recommends that it should consider giving out voluntary concessions to these individuals in your community. Will you be doing that?
Absolutely. So let me just let my listeners observe that under what we call community PAN system. Under the community PAN system, Electrochem has already allocated over 1,000 acres to the indigents to do their mining. And that community PAN system would continue under organized group, the chiefs, the youth groups, the market women, and other groups that have come. Me as the CEO, for the past 6 months, I have received a lot of applications for community PANs, which I have approved. And through that, the indigents continue to mine side by side and coexist with us. the committee recommendation, we will accelerate it. We would increase the allocation of community funds, and we intend to work with every peaceful member of the community to ensure that the indigents continue to mine their salt as they do. Not only would we give them the funds for free, we have invested over $10 million in brine. That is the salt water. That would not only serve Electrochem, but would also serve the community members. But all this will be done under responsible mining, not before when the lagoon was desecrated and turned into a desert in a way that the lagoon was literally not functioning. Environmentally, it was not safe and all that. So Electrochem coming into being, we have revitalized the lagoon in a way that we don't only see salt producers. We have 1,000 women and men that are now fishing within the lagoon and making livelihood out of that. So our impact on the community is enormous, not to talk about the schools that we have built, the water, the portable source of water that we've given to every community that is affected. And right now, the biggest festival that is bringing Ada into limelight is Asatufu Festival. Electrochem is the number one sponsor of that festival, just to make sure that we make the city vibrant. We are creating a chemical university within Ada to ensure that all salt-related byproducts, research is being done there to create employment for the people of Ada. And in Electrochem, I have made it a policy that when we have vacancy and recruitment, unless we can find that is where we go out. And currently, 75% of our employees are all indigents of Ada.
And
believe
Razak, very
Electrochem
quickly,
is
you've
for the people
indicated
of
that
Ada.
on the back of this committee report, you're going to increase the concessions.
Absolutely, that is the plan.
How much more land size will we be allocating for this purpose?
As much as they need. I can tell you that we have about 43,000 acres, right? That is covering the concession. And right now, Electrochem is only working on less than 7,500 acres. So we believe that there is enough to go around.
Okay. Abdul Razak Adam, thank you very much. He's the CEO of Electrochem Ghana Limited. So listening to News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. I'll return from Business MFM. I'm looking forward to this. The debate before the debate. It is happening on the floor before a potential debate.
And there's a minority debate team, and club, and all that. We'll be talking about it.
Yes, we'll be talking about that. You're looking forward to a debate between John Mahama and Baumia?
Yeah, it won't be bad.
No, it won't be bad
Nice,
at all.
yeah.
It won't be bad at all. George Affe, what do you make of that?
It should happen. It should happen.
Yeah, yes, it won't be bad. 24-hour economy against digital economy.
It should only happen when the election headquarters organizes it. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
no other place.
Yeah.
George, what do you have in the headlines?
Well, Evans, coming up, Parliament's budget committee to help check overruns this year as concerns grow over election-related spending affecting the current economic recovery. Government gets $840 million as revenue from crude exports for the first half of this year. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business.
Attention, shoppers and textile lovers. The Ghana Revenue Authority introduces the Textile Tax Stamp, effective from July 1st, 2024. This stamp protects your jobs and livelihoods from illicit trading, counterfeiting, and smuggling. This is not a tax. It is just a compliance measure to protect the textiles industry in Ghana. So which products are affected? All African prints, textiles are included. Look out for the green border for domestic products, red border for imports, and blue for the transition period. Remember, look for the textile tax stamp when you buy. Protect our local industry and jobs. For importers and manufacturers, register and get your stamps at your nearest GRA office or online at www.gratextiletaxstamp.com. Please note, it is an offense to display, buy, or sell products without the stamp. Enforcement begins July 1st, 2024. Remember, no stamp, don't buy.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302-764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website, www.kingdomgh.com.
Hey, so as for you, every day you are just pressing your phone. Why? Are they paying you?
They are, Oma.
Eh?
The more I use my MTN, the more points I get. And I can use those points to get airtime, data, and even discounts at shops and restaurants.
Hey, so that is why all of you are always pressing your phones. And you won't tell us, so that we too we can enjoy some.
Oh, ma.
There's always more to enjoy with MTN Rewards. Just keep talking, testing, and browsing all day, every day to collect your points and use it to redeem amazing offers and discounted freebies right away. There's so much available for you. So dial *550# and get your reward today. Let's go everywhere you go.
Kweku, have you heard what they are doing on MTN?
Choboy! Yeah. We have a new leader in town. OBRNT. Amafo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe mamu more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe mamu lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal Pack with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
The luckiest *712#. Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah.
Welcome and now for a dial *712# and found no regrets. A side comma investors are a striking gold. A comma health workers are a diagnosing luck with precision. A side comma that tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. Say a comma passionate fan or also entering containing a joy. After to the stressor or turning a hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now a comma if you say your next big win is right here.
Dial *712# and join the luckiest winning celebration. From the 1st of July 2024, dial *712# to keep buying tickets as a group, individual, or even as a community. Win loads of cash and prizes in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with *712#. Join the winning streak now.
The luckiest *712#. Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the new Budget Committee of Parliament will work hard to check expenditure that has not been approved by the House in the coming months. Now, that's assurance coming from the chairman of Parliament Finance Committee, Patrick Boama. It follows concerns that the country will once again not escape the election curse because Parliament will fail to exercise its oversight responsibility. But chairman of the Parliament Finance Committee, Patrick Boama, disagrees.
Because of some of these challenges, Parliament, in its wisdom, through the new rules of the House, has set up a budget committee. So that budget committee will have that oversight and ensure that we stay within our budgetary limits and even reduce expenditure. The Finance Committee will complement them, but the overall basis will be to ensure that we stay within our budget numbers.
There's another bit about signaling confidence to the development partners
the creditors, and even within the business community as well. Do you think that this statement that he has laid before the House is addressing those critical concerns?
I believe so, because the business community wants to see a government or the Minister of Finance streamlining a lot of waste in the system, let me put it that way. They also want to see some discipline within all sectors of the economy.
Patrick Boama is chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee. Now, Lands and Forestry Minister Samuel Jinapohas is optimistic of securing Parliament's approval for the lithium mining deal. Now, government has already submitted the agreement between the state and the company working to extract the mineral. However, sections of the public have raised concerns about the deal. The minister says all these concerns have been addressed.
I'm very confident in the arrangements we made with our lithium resources, and I think that the pundits have all now.
I think we're getting a good deal?
We've got a very fantastic deal, and it's been scrutinized over and over again, and I think that what we put together is absolutely in the national interest. We'll be appearing before the Natural Resources Committee of Parliament next week, and the matter is in within the confines of Parliament, and when we come, we will make our case before the committee. And it's my expectation that the House will ratify it. So this project, which is going to unleash hundreds and thousands of jobs in the central region, and also bring about a lot of opportunities, economic opportunities for Ghanaian private sector, will take off. And so we will see next.
Lands and Forestry Minister Samuel Jinapo. Now, government has rolled out fresh measures that would help improve revenue and achieved the end-of-year targets. Now, this was captured in the 2024 Media Budget Review presented to Parliament. There is more in this report.
Government is hoping to raise 177 billion cedis in revenue by the end of this year. This is coming after government revised the revenue target for 2024. It also follows fresh data which showed that the revenue numbers are not looking good. But the Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, believes that some of these measures will help improve the situation going forward. According to the media budget, government is looking at implementing property tax, deepening engagement with both Ghana Revenue Authority and other stakeholders when it comes to tax collections, and addressing the various loopholes in revenue mobilization. Government also believes that plans by the Ghana Revenue Authority to add more than 2,000 taxpayers on board the VAT electronic system will also help the situation. There are also plans to share data with tax authorities in the country to help zone in foreign nationals evading taxes due the state. Government believes that these measures could go a long way to help improve the revenue situation by the end of this year and help deal with the concerns of donors and external creditors.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, government secured $840 million as revenue from crude exports for the first half of this year. Now, this came in the form of taxes and royalties paid by companies operating on the country's oil fields. Now, this update was captured in the Ghana Petroleum Funds report ending June this year. Now, Talo paid the highest in terms of corporate taxes to the state of $86 million. Now, the 7 oil firms operating on the country's oil fields paid $476 million in the form of corporate taxes to the state. And let's look at some company news where Unilever seen its profit hit 203 million Ghana cedis for the end in June this year, from 179 million Ghana cedis posted in June last year. This was captured in its financial update released to investors on the Ghana Stock Exchange today. And that's all for Business on News Night. Back to you, Evans and
George. Thank you very much. And if a debate happens, the economy will be front and
digital
center.
Against 24 hours.
No, that's how you are pitching it already. Okay. And Ms. Bao is here with sports.
Hello, Evans. Hello, Evans. Well, the Olympic Games, somewhat has started. This is the football event that has started today. Official opening ceremony will take place on Saturday, July 26th. However, in one of the games that did take place today was Morocco versus Argentina, ended chaotically and also very dramatically because Morocco were leading 2-1 as a 90th minute. Then the referee added 15 minutes. And guess what? Argentina equalized on the 16th minute of that added time. Argentina equalized on the 16th minute. And when Argentina equalized,
Even beyond the other time?
Yes, beyond the other time. So when Argentina equalized, the fans invaded the pitch and the game was suspended for 2 hours. For 2 hours. And everybody thought the game had ended. And pretty much all the, portals reported the game had ended 2-2. 2 hours later, we understand that the referee returned to the field and said the game had not ended and it had been stopped because of the fans' invasion. And the goal that Argentina scored, VAR checked it, and apparently it was offside.
Extraordinary.
Absolutely extraordinary. And so the Argentine fans were celebrating. They had equalized, late in other time. But after 2 hours,
extraordinary. I need to watch this unfold.
Yeah, Morocco ended up winning it.
I thought I've seen it all in football. There was one case in the EPL where Manchester United scored after the final whistle had been blown.
Yeah.
Because of anybody's like, oh yeah, I mean that's the first time it's happened.
To check the VAR.
But this is 2 hours later.
2 hours later, and the head coach of Argentina, Mascherano, he responded. He said he called it a circus, and even Lionel Messi took to Instagram to react to it, and he said, "Unbelievable." He said, I don't know if Argentina they speak Spanish. He said insoleto that should be Spanish somewhat there. Anyway, the Minister for Youth and Sports has been addressing the press earlier today, talking about the youth resource centers that have been abandoned. Well, pictures surfaced of the whole youth resource center, which had been overgrown with weeds, and a few others with protests even held in Exim over the facilities abandonment. Well, the minister says that the facilities abandonment is largely due to financial constraint. However, he's assuring that he will try and get some funds released for the facilities to be completed.
We had challenges with some of them, and I must admit, with regards to payment to the contractors. But because the contractors have not handed over the project to us, you can't go and use it because we have not commissioned them. The challenges has to do with payment of their certificate, but we are working very hard to make sure that they get their payment and they can go back and complete them for us to put them to good use.
Yeah, so that's the Sports Minister, Mustafa Usif, there on the Youth Resource Centres. Well, Evans, we've got a show tonight on Joy Prime, 9 p.m. We're previewing the Olympic Games that is set to start in 2 days from now. We're going to be talking about Ghana's athletes there. Azamati, we have the 4x100 team who will be competing. Azamati will be competing in the 100 meters. We have Saminu will be competing in the 100 meters and the 200 meters. So we've got some swimmers there. And, one high jumper, Deborah Rose Yabora, rather, will be competing in the high jump. So, yeah, we'll be looking forward to that. But very instructively, though, is that for the first time in a long time, you're not going to have boxers at the Olympic Games. And Ghana's only medal, in fact, most medal, we've won 4. Ghana.
I come through boxing.
Exactly. Boxing has given us 4 of the medals from the Olympic Games. So it's really surprising has not seen boxers at the Olympic Games. So 9 p.m. in Joy Prime, we're previewing all of it. And
Fencho
we can
is
all
there
make a day.
for us.
Yes, Fencho has arrived in France to report on the Olympic Games.
Thank you very much.
You want to catch that also live on all our social media platforms. Let's head to Parliament now and maybe try to settle that controversy when it comes to the
debate or
presidential
not to debate.
Exactly. So the leadership of both the majority and minority, they've clashed over the subject of a presidential debate going into the 2024 election. Well, the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, we know, has on a number of occasions challenged the NDC flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, to a debate. While speaking in Parliament today, the majority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Marking, also threw a challenge to the NDC MPs to advise their leader to square off in a presidential debate if he's truly serious about returning to the presidency.
It is important that your MPs should not just follow your flag bearer. They should encourage your flag bearer to make himself available for a debate with Dr. Bawumia, because you are, Mr. Speaker, in this election, we should make available fact to Ghanaians. And I would encourage us as parliamentarians to urge upon our flag bearers to avail themselves for a debate. We need a debate. The way we debate in this chamber, Mr. Speaker, is very important. And this is a call I'm making as a leader of the House, that let us encourage debate so that the name calling, the insinuation, the toxic nature of the political space could be brought down.
So that was the challenge. I'm sure you're curious about hearing what the minority's response is. First, there were 2 responses, and in fact 3 responses, followed by, after the 2 on the floor, there was a press conference following that. First, let's hear the minority chief whip, Kwame Governs Abuja. He says that Dr. Bawumia should first subject himself to questions by journalists instead of calling for a debate.
As for the debate out there, I'm sure the unemployed want to debate Dr. Bawumia. People clearing goods, paying 20 different taxes at the port, would like to debate him. So as for actually, the people who really want to debate him are out there. They should debate the people of this country. President Mahama is just one individual. Debate the millions of people who are struggling under the hands of Vice President, and then we'll get there. In any case, I am not aware that anybody has invited anybody to a debate and the person have decided not to come.
Well, so that was the immediate response. Matt, let's take you to Parliament now. Kweku Asante has all the lowdown on this particular issue. So, Kweku, there was a further response from the minority leader himself. What was it?
Yes, MFA, according to Dr. Kasia Latofosin, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is not the level of John Dramani Mahama. In fact, he refers to the allusion made by the Vice President that he's a driver's mate and says an inexperienced driver's mate cannot debate an experienced driver.
The Speaker, monkeys, they say, play by sizes. The Speaker, how can a driver mate debate an experienced driver? Mr. Speaker, in this House, the spokesperson for the minority on the issues of finance is Honorable Adongo. The spokesperson for the minority for the issues of the economy is Honorable Kweku Rekithagen. And the spokesperson for the budget for the minority is Honorable Ampem Dako. Mr. Speaker, we all know that the chairman of the economic management team is the vice president. So the vice president can only debate Honorable Adongo. He should debate Honorable Adongo or debate Honorable Kweku Rekithagen. A driver mate cannot debate an experienced driver. No. Mr. Speaker, that is a fact. So we throw at the challenge. He should debate Honorable Adongo first, Honorable Ampem second, and Honorable Kweku Rekithagen third, before he could consider debating President Mahama. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That is the answer. He should go and debate him first.
Well, so Kweku, that was not all. We know that it was followed by a press conference by the minority. They are outlining certain issues that they are hoping that the Vice President will address. Let's go through them.
Yes, Evan, MFI and Evans, we've been hearing from Ahmed Ibrahim, who is the first deputy minority whip, who says that, in fact, tomorrow, as MPs begin to debate the media budget review statement the minister presented only yesterday, he expects the Vice President to stop campaigning and come to Parliament and debate with MPs.
The NDC minority in Parliament is inviting Vice President Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia to participate in the debate on the media fiscal policy review of 2021 on the budget which was presented to us yesterday. The budget statement and economic policy is scheduled to take place tomorrow, and that the debate will take place tomorrow. So we are calling on His Excellency the Vice President to join the debate. The debate begins on Thursday, 25th July 2024 in the Parliamentary Chamber at 10 o'clock in the forenoon. The minority is extending the public invitation to the Vice President, giving his notice as giving his role as chairman of the economic management team of the government. Parliamentary rules permit a sitting Vice President to participate in debate on the floor of the House, and this is stated in Article 110 of the 1992 Constitution. And this is a copy of the Constitution. So if you open Article 110, it says that the Vice President, a sitting Vice President, is permitted to take place on the debate on the floor.
And Kweku, the minority, they've been listing for us the members of their debating team.
Yes, Evans, you heard Dr. Kasia mention some names, but they provided a further name. They said they have George Kweku Rekithagen, they have the Honorable Isaac Adungo, they have Honorable Thomas Ampem Dako, they have Honorable John Abdullah Ejinapo, they have Honorable Eric Opoku, Honorable Ladi Ayi Ayamba, and Honorable Joseph Bukari Nipes. This is their team to face off with Dr. Bawumia if he dares land on the floor of Parliament tomorrow to participate in this debate.
About 35% of the Ghanaian youth are unemployed, the highest in the Fourth Republic. This has never happened before. So tomorrow when he comes and we debate, we'll find an antidote to all this. This is what Ghanaians want to hear. And the Constitution has given him that opportunity. So you should not just go and stand somewhere and be saying somebody should come for debate. Ghanaians are in Parliament. And the Ghanaians are those who gave him the opportunity. So he must come and debate Ghanaians on the floor of Parliament tomorrow. So the NDC Minority Fund is believing that Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia still has the audacity to call for a debate on the economy. And if he does, we are creating that opportunity for him. Despite his poor economic performance, he says debate will solve the problem. So we are waiting for him. That notwithstanding, the NDC minority has lined up a crack team. So tomorrow when he comes, he must know the people he's coming to debate with. A crack team of debaters for a showdown. And the following are they. Honorable Kweku Rekete-Hagan is the chairman of the Committee on Economy and Development. So we'll debate the economy proper. Honorable Azega Dongo, he's the ranking member on finance. So the debate is going to be on finance and economy. So Mahmoud Bawumia should know the people he's coming to face. Honorable Thomas Ampinyaku, and he's the chairman of the budget committee. So they just represented the budget and we are debating it. So he must come along that line. Honorable John Abdullahi Dinapo, and he's the ranking member on the Committee of Energy, also member of the Finance Committee. Honorable Eric Opoku, and he's the ranking member. He's the ranking member on Food, Agriculture, and Cocoa Affairs, and member of the Committee on Economy and Development.
And that is a debating club, yes. The NDC Minority Debaters Club.
Yes.
Interesting. This is your election headquarters. And your election headquarters is always brought to you by Petrosol Clean Fuel in Full Quantity, CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, AICPA, and CIMA together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, Chopboss Technologies, a convenient service, and Youthbridge Foundation. And guess what? Today, the vice presidential candidate, the running mate to Dr. Bawumia, has been touring, and my colleague Samuel Mbura has been traveling with him. Where has he been and what has he been saying, Samuel?
Yeah, hello, Evans, can you hear me?
I can. Where has he been? What has he been saying?
Hello, Evans. If you could say that again, I would be grateful. I didn't hear that.
What has he been saying?
Well, so Dr. Michael Opoku Prempeh's tour is to familiarize himself with the traditional authorities. As he said, they are the major stakeholders as far as his leadership is concerned. So basically, he's meeting the traditional leaders, assuring them that he and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, given the opportunity, will transform Ghana. And then he's reaffirming that he is someone who will be accessible by all if he's given the opportunity. So basically, he's propagating the agenda of the MPP if they are given the opportunity to govern the country in 2025 onwards, and also what he's capable of doing.
Why is this man everywhere he goes, he comes from there? Because we are one people. We are one people. But truly, and that is my hope. And you see, people hesitate in calling me Napo. I started being called Napo from the age of 4 because I was called Napo. And we couldn't say it, my cousins couldn't say it, so we became Napo. Napo was Napo when I went to primary school. Teachers called me Napo. My friends called me Napo. Napo has become so much so that in my own house, when some nurses came to look for me to give me a donation, and they met my brother, and they said Dr. Prempeh, he said there's no Dr. Prempeh in this house. They actually went and came back and said, are you guys resemble him? He said, brother, put that work.
And that there is Matthew Opoku Prempeh, Doctor, a.k.a.
Napo. Well, he says it points to his humility, and it's time for us to get out of here, and it's time for the strong and the sassy Noella.
Yeah.
is in. What are we talking about
So
tonight?
we are having a conversation with a phenomenal woman who is widely known for her philanthropic work, but we're not going to zoom too much into that. We're going to look at the person she is, beyond that philanthropic nature of her, and it's going to be raw, unfiltered, and candid. So it's something you don't want to miss
raw,
out.
right?
Yeah, very raw.
Well, we're still celebrating
Like
impact
Evans likes it.
makers. And you want to stay for Noella. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am MFAPA. Evans.
And my name is Evans Metsa. Enjoy the rest of your evening.